pre-season starting, and we have now the possibility to talk also with Massimiliano Mirabelli, our sports director, and we can talk also and focus on the gathering of the first team with our coach. Please quote also the name of your masthead, so that those who are listening to us on our networks know your masthead. So we can start. Mr. Let's start from the shirt, as you were saying before, and from the 39 points conquered last year. That's the past. We have to look at the future. We didn't change a lot. I'm sure that we will have other signings, and afterwards Mirabelli will say, but we must start and restart with great enthusiasm. The alibi set apart, issues apart. We're here to sweat and to work, and afterwards we will see where we arrive. We're going to arrive, but we must believe, strongly believe in what we do. We had some issues, there were some problems, but our duty is to prepare the season the best at best. Now, Mr. This morning you were running and for the physical tests, but your imprinting is always that. Well, football, I play football also. I can play football in one kind. I live football. I like to live it as I live it. I'm just like this, and it's I can't change, and I can stay in strong contact with my guys and hit the ground running with them. Sometimes it was useful, sometimes no, but it's my personal characteristic. The first question for you, Mr. Gattuso: which are the sensations and the difficulties at the beginning of the season when you have a team on which you really don't know who are the players who will continue, who will be the new signings, and this air of change of ownership? Well, I always say the truth. There were 50 difficult days also for me, and I can ensure you that I have trained. Well, I had worst moments also in situation, not in a club like AC Milan. I'm a little used to it, but I'm convinced and I'm sure that things will improve and can improve, and I'm convinced of it. I have heard and listened to many rumors during these 50 days that players want to go away. To date, no footballer came to me or called me or went to the president, or maybe some agent, but no, I have no footballer that today asked me to go away. We are starting with a fundamental and an important basis, with an important group of top players, and then we will see if this club would be strengthened or not. But we'll start from a very good basis. Mr. Mirabelli, what will it change, or could it change in your work, having seen what the corporate issues that should bring some changes? You said a few days ago, I don't know yet what will be on my plate. Now, these changes, could they give you also some ideas, also from a timing point of view? Look, we have to think positive, because before thinking about what eventually maybe could happen, we have to be positive. We have a young group of a football player in Serie A, the third in Europe, and then since Mr. Gattuso arrived, and I know the difficulties that he overcame. With this group, he arrived third in ranking, and we must start from these things. We must restart from this young football team that will have a year more experience. There are many footballers that arrived last year who need to restart. Now we have the possibility to make this group start with Gattuso's methods of work. So without the difficulties he found when he became coach, you see negative things, but instead I am very positive for next season. No way, we have only to watch what's happening on the pitch, and I'm convinced, again, all the football players came with great enthusiasm. Through Rino's enthusiasm, no one came to us telling us they want to go away. So I'm very, very positive for the future. Even if other teams, now probably Juventus will have Ronaldo, Inter with Nainggolan, maybe with other teams that rose the bar, maybe. We have to see what we can do and not what other teams do. And the transfer window is an important game, an important match, but afterwards we must remember that on August 19 there will be a referee to whistle the kickoff, and it will be the pitch to say and to give the results. Rino, I spoke with the fans, and you know what they told me? The guarantee of new AC Milan is Rino Gattuso. And this is what fans say. I feel this pressure, but I'm not worried. I hope, no, not I hope, I'm sure. I can't do everything on my own. This is a very important club, and I'm convinced that we must say that, to say the truth, maybe today's club had some issues and problems, but I wish to assure you again that from an a financial point of view, we never missed anything. Maybe 1 week delay for the payments, but from a structural point of view, we never missed anything. The people who are around me, people working for the club was always perfectly in shape and fit, and in this moment when the president is not here every day, or with the staff, maybe the things become more difficult, but I believe that in this moment we must honor this club, and we must do our best to make it work at best, and I will do my best. I feel this pressure, but I like it. In these months I always put my face, because I am the first fan of this team, I'm the coach, I'm the head of the fans, because for me it's an honor to train such a team. And I'm happy, and I'm not worried, and I will do my best to Mirabelli, talking about corporate issues. Now corporate that is worked, gave a deep restructuring to the organizational structure, 13, 14 new managers, 7, 8 technical coaches, new technical coaches. Why did you start from the restructuring of from the corporate restructuring? Well, maybe this reasoning we would need more space than a simple answer, but it's clearly when there is a new ownership, it's normal that they thought about preparing a management team that then will be able to continue with the work we have implemented. If you know this place here better than anyone else, fans trust you. 40 days to the beginning, to the kickoff of the championship. Net from what was going to happen. Now let's talk about sports and football. Have you already a target? Last year they were talking about Champions League. You have to live step by step, day by day, or do you already know where you want to go? Look, let's see. We have a strong group, and to strengthen this team, both Mr. Fassone and Mr. Mirabelli know which type of footballers I like, but to strengthen it, and also having seen that other teams strengthen themselves, but we start from a very important basis. But if new signings will arrive, I hope, because but I can stay also like this with no problem. We are aware that other teams that were already top teams are now strengthened. And another thing to Mr. Mirabelli, no footballer came to me. Maybe some agents had talked with Mirabelli. Did some agent come to you? Could Milan lose one of their top players? Or is there a possibility for everyone to stay here? Look, no one, no footballer and no agent came to us to tell us that someone wants to leave AC Milan. And then in the end, it's the transfer market. I already told a few days ago, we are in a phase that we will have to understand on the basis of the parameters of this AC Milan and of this year's AC Milan, and we still don't know if we are going to play in Europe. We will have to zero balance transfer market. Now, we will see. We have some ideas, both signings and departures, but don't have to sell important players unless someone comes and says he wants to go away. Now, is it true that Suso never asked for anything? It's true, but the fact that his agent spoke with Inter Milan, is it an hypothesis you will want to push away, which is not want to say it's not true, even if Inter Milan offers a satisfying amount? Now, agents can talk and say whatever they want. I don't know if they spoke with Inter Milan. I can exclude that Suso is going to go to Inter. Suso has a clause for the abroad, but he always said he wants to stay in AC Milan. So we're confident he is going to stay with us. But I absolutely exclude him to go to FC Internazionale. Rino, now having seen that the market will be self-financed, so it's difficult to imagine important negotiations. Should you concentrate on an area of the pitch of your squad? Would it be the forwards or the defense? Look, I always said that we need an alternative, an external forward, a playmaker like AC, and then we'll see. Let's not forget that we have 4 forwards. Let's see the transfer window, what it will say, what will happen, but these are the roles. Now, if no forward goes away, we're not going to look for other forwards. I think that for a football player, but also for sporting people, now having seen someone who takes you away what you are able to gain on the pitch, I think it's something, the worst thing it could happen. From a psychological, and especially, okay, we are waiting for CAS, but there are still some corporate issues. So once again, we could hypothesize that you start again competing, and that even if you win on the pitch, we don't know what is going to happen. Are you worried about this psychological effect? I'm worried. Well, it worries me day by day. Not being credible, because it's not the correct word. But my biggest fear during these 50 days when I was at home was this, the fact that no, talking about they have to be proud. That is why from today our objective is to prepare ourselves. Because, okay, we will know on the 19th of July the CAS ruling, but we will have to start our pre-season with the idea of that we are going to participate. But this afternoon we will play the Europa League. And we must start that we're going to play with the conviction that we're going to play Europa League. Did the club ask you a specific target this year? Now, do you think that with all these issues and things, the club has asked me for a target this year? Now, after May 20, I was in Casa Milan every day, talking with Mirabelli, with the CEO. In 2 or 3 occasions, there was also David Lee. We spoke about what we had to do. Then I went on holiday. I spoke 4 or 5 times with Fassone, and then, but we didn't talk about objectives yet, because there are more important issues to be solved. Now, so the participation in a Europa League, will it change? If it will change the transfer market at a budget level, also at the level of the objectives? Look, clearly, if you participate in Europa League or you don't, it involves more or less money, cash, but you can do more or less on the transfer market. But as Rino said, we conquered the qualification on the pitch, and we hope no one takes it away from us. Yes, if you don't play in Europa League, you will have to invent something more. Now, talking about the transfer window, currently there are many goalkeepers also. You have 2 top goalkeepers like Pepe Reina and Donnarumma, and fans ask for Gigio to stay with AC Milan. Are you happy? Okay. It's better to have two top players that don't have, and not having a goalkeeper. It will be my problem. It will be difficult for me to choose, but it's fantastic like that.
Giro la domanda un po' dal punto di vista appunto di chi fa il mercato, ecco, cioè se qualcuno deve
Now,
essere
if
sacrificato perché
someone has to be sacrificed, if we are talking about zero balance, probably some important departures there will have to be.
si potrebbe guardare
You could think about one or two of the goalkeepers, but okay. Besides talking about the goalkeepers, we're not going to the market to try to discount our players or to propose our players. We have many footballers, interesting footballers. Footballers will go away only if Mr. Gattuso decides and says, okay. If there are and when there are negotiations, as usual, I'll call Mr. Gattuso and he will say yes or no if we want to renounce to a football player. But as as all good coaches, he would want more, 3-4 more. I already know his answers, but in any case, we do the passages. We have to.
buon pomeriggio a entrambi, eccoci di Sport Italia e in bocca al lupo per l'inizio della nuova stagione.
Gattuso,
una domanda sugli
a
attaccanti.
question on forwards, particularly. Now, this year, you try to relaunch André Silva, who was not perfect last season. He has the possibility to be part of the new AC Milan. And for Mr. Mirabelli, director, now you had some difficulties during this transfer market. How can you recover the many days lost? That is, do you have still the time? You talk. It's normal that more days pass. I know his ideas, but our job is to prepare more alternatives, hoping that afterwards we'll have the time, so we will be able to close the first choices, and then, I mean, we have prepared at least something like 10 choices for every role. On attackers, it's the pitch who will talk. We will see. You were talking about André Silva, but for me, it's, I mean, I'm talking, now I'll talk to you about Bacca. Now I hope that Bacca will arrive with the will to sweat, not with the idea that he has to go away. And then the club gives him a value. If he finds a solution, it's okay, but he is going to say, if he stays here, he has to stay here as I want him to stay. But this is also for the other football players. André Silva knows that in this moment, after 1 year, I want him with higher performances, because he has the characteristics, he is a good player, and what we did last year was not enough. So he has to train, he has to sweat, he has to be available, and then I don't know who will be in the lineup. It's the pitch and what's happened on the pitch. In my mind, I exactly know what they can give them to me, what the 4 attackers can give to me. I know it because as Kanic moves for the cleanness and the cleverness of his movements, and the other 3 forwards have different characteristics. So when you look for something, you look for the best.
Sì, Valentin Paolucci di L'Equipe, una domanda fuori tema.
12 years ago, you were winning the World Cup with Buffon. It looks it's 100 years ago. So what do you think about Buffon with the PSG jersey? I never thought Gigi, at 40 years old, to play again to continue to be a protagonist in a big team as Paris Saint-Germain, a team that currently is one of the top teams in Europe, and I was surprised because if I remember in 2010 he had problems with his back and everyone was saying he was finished, and you see now in 2018 talking about Gigi at 40 years old who is going to play in one of the top teams in Europe, as I said before. You were talking again about an external attacker, so where will you put Alilovic? How many? Are there many playmakers in this? I see him as a playmaker, not as Mr. Kessie, with different characteristics. And I just want to say that Alilovic, I think you know him, he's a young footballer. Okay, for us it's a bet we gave to Rino to see in 1 year what he's able to give us about this great talent that was a great talent. And the characteristics are very clear. Was not joking, because he also played as midfielder and less runs, but great technical quality. But I think that he's a footballer who will be able to do well. Now, is AC Milan pointing or considering a so-called big or top player? Well, it depends on what you mean for top. Well, in my opinion, and Mr. Gattuso thinks like me, when footballers must come, we need footballers to help us to play better. So it depends. It has to be an important player, because if not, we have to stay as we are, because it would be useless. But again, the fundamental thing is that both in the roles or in the choice that we will propose, the footballer will have to play. So every new signing will be agreed with Gattuso.
Massimo canta, carta canta web. Ciao Rino, buongiorno direttore.
Now, you were talking about looking for a forward, an external forward, or in case an attacker, a striker. Is there someone you have already met personally in Russia, or maybe afterwards, or are you still going to look for someone? No, look, we do not need to go into Russia to meet football players or to see football players. But first, before, Mirabelli said something important. Now we have to sign footballers that can grant an improvement to this squad, because if not, it's useless. Now, the new signings, if they're going to arrive, will have to have specific characteristics, not only technical and tactical, but also human characteristics, because maybe sometimes when you spend 40, 60, 70 million, sometimes you don't think about the path, the human path of the football player and his character. It's important for me also the human part, because I have to work with him, I have to look at him. I can't think I can lose my time also outside the pitch every day. What type of professional he is. And when we talk about footballers, this is an important element for me. A very personal thing for Gattuso. How much do you want to be only a coach? Well, look, thanks God, since I'm here, I'm doing only the coach. I'm being only the coach. There are great professionals here, and I lose my time only, when we talk about technical and tactical levels. In other clubs, I was simply more than a coach, but since 2 days, it's 3 days I'm here in Milanello, and we talk only about football. We are preparing the season and the training camps, and all the anxieties just go away because I do what I like. I'm doing what I like. The worst moment was because maybe when I was on my own. For Gattuso, one of the summer's words was Plan A and Plan B, also at a tactical level. So one of the summer's objectives is also to prepare a sort of a Plan B on the pitch. Yes. Yes, we're going to start from where we finished, but yes, we will start to work on some new concept, and we will work on these things. The midfield will be with 3 players, and then we're thinking about some changes. What did Kalinic say after when he was sent away from Croatia? Because he had some behavioral problems. Can I say so? Can I answer? I spoke with Nicola. Nicola, I can tell you that it's true. When he went away from here, he always suffered with some physical problems during the training. And the era when he went away from here, that he had this physical problem, but the problem is that he didn't talk, and he was not honest with with the national team coach. And when you have a national team coach, that is, you have to do the best, because if not, there is a lack of respect both on the teammates and to the coach. This problem came out. But I spoke with him, and I just can assure you that it's not easy to train Nicola, but he's a very sensitive guy, and when he sees that people around him talk to him and tell him always the truth, he's a guy who is able to behave well. And I think that his biggest error that he was not honest with his coach. Now, this is again transfer window market. We're talking about Simone Zaza. Do you like him? We already have someone like him. Patrick Cutrone is almost similar, with less experience, but it's almost similar. But I wish to repeat again, to date, the priority is to talk about our strikers. Then if someone of these four forwards wants to leave, it's okay. But to date, we have no idea to purchase new attackers.
Fabio Conte, Agenzia Area. Volevo chiedere al direttore prima di tutto se si aspettava dopo solo un anno dall'inizio della sua
after 1 year, were you expecting such a uncertain situation, talking about ownership? But no, I mean, neither myself nor you could imagine. AC Milan was used to about 30 years ownership, so no one was expecting this thing after 1 year. Maybe it's they were working in a more quiet way, more linear way. But as Rino said before, we don't have to transform all of this in an alibi, because we are the ones who will have to wear the shirt and to represent AC Milan. So we only need to think about the best, because this club, this fought and worked a lot for important things. So despite the issues, we are not going to change our path, or a path that is an important project for AC Milan. Talking to Rino, if and when there is a change of the ownership, would you like to have always the same relationship with the same sporting director, because you're a couple who works well? We are a couple working from morning to night, very clear with us, as I like it. When we have to confront ourselves, it's always respectful, but our visions, we look ourselves, and we don't have to convince the other. We do things for Milan's health, AC Milan's health, to improve the things we do. And then maybe we can make some mistakes, but we think about it. We insult ourselves, but we sometimes talk with the Calabria's dialect, sometimes in English, because I started talking in English. And we just look at ourselves and talk about ourselves to improve. 5:30, the training starts. Alfredo Magni went away, Valerio Fiori is back in Milanello. What can this bring? But look, there is also Gigi Ragno, who worked for 5 years as goalkeeper trainer, same working method. They looked. Gigi Ragno was in the youth sector. All the people arrived here in AC Milan are all people worked in Milan for 10 years, about for 10 years. I want people, I can not lose, I don't have time to explain how things happen. They know the environment, they know how to have to move, they know how to work and what they have to do, and this was my choice. With Magni we lose a great professional, nothing against him, but I think in this moment it was both mine and a choice I did and the club did. We looked for a professional like Valerio, who already knew AC Milan, and also a new goalkeeper arrived like Peperena, but nothing against the professional and the man. It's only club's choice and my choice.
Volevo fare una domanda al direttore, se così davvero. Sì, no, se volevo dire al direttore se dopo il rinnovo di Romagnoli,
Now, after Romagnoli's renewal
and
Cutrone's renewal coming, if you can tell us about something about the negotiations ongoing on the renewals of the agreements. Look, we have some young footballers that we have to renew. Well, there is only one who is a youth sector player, footballer. All other signed, are closed. Now we have football players with long contracts. Maybe in 2 or 3 months we will think of sitting with someone else and starting negotiating. I'm not sure if you're talking about Jack Bonaventura, these players, but we will try to keep as long as possible, but we had no problems on renewals. Could you tell me something more about Bacca? Because everyone thinks that Bacca is going to go away. No. What I said is that Bacca has a price. If they don't find an agreement, he will come here and will be part of the squad. I hope he will come here with great will, great commitment, and I will work also with Bacca. But if he arrives and then I start to convince him, and no way. If he comes here, he wears AC Milan jersey, he represents AC Milan, and he trains as well as everyone else. Last year he scored 18 goals between cups and championship at Villarreal. Why not to keep him? Instead, if he needs some cuddles and hugs, like I will cuddle him, no problem. When we talk about Morata, Immobile, can fan believe in it or not? Not just to talk about this. We never said names. So certainly, as we said before, if some forward or one forward goes away, we will have to sign another striker, and we will have to think about someone better. But again, we are aware of the dynamics of the transfer window and of the football players. But at the appropriate moment, we will see. But we're not today. We're not going to say fans can dream for this player or this other player. It would not be correct. Now, fans will have to be also aware that there are people working 24 hours, 24/7, and then in the end, we will see where we arrived. Now talking about fans, what can they expect for next season? Which is the real objective? Champions League or Europa League? The real objective is to find to be quiet from a club point of view, from a corporate point of view, to live the day by day quietly. So then on objectives, about objectives, we will start to work. Well, it's easy for me to say the objective is to get to the qualification, the qualification to Champions League. Now let's think about it. Let's wait 1 second. Let's start. What type of transfer market will we be able to? In 1 week we will meet again, and you will ask me again the same question. Thank you.